guys, it's Ryan with Mama on Mission, and today I'm going to be filming my most requested video, which is what is in my morning basket. Um, this has been asked by a lot of people, either people who are just curious or people who have not started a morning basket yet and are looking to start one. So I'm going to preface this by saying if you have not started one yet and this isn't already part of your daily routine, one, do it, it's awesome. But two, do not be intimidated or overwhelmed by what I'm about to show you. This has been a work in progress, and it has not always been this much stuff. And I'm going to show you, I don't do this all every day, okay? So just like, don't freak out. So this is what our schedule for morning time looks like. We start with Bible every time. Then before we do Bible, we pray and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Then for our learning loop, if you don't know how loop works, how we do this loop anyway, is we do one subject per day. And if we don't get to it, then we just pick up where we left off the next time, if that makes sense. So like Monday we would do health, Tuesday we do Latin, say Wednesday we didn't get to morning time. So then Wednesday we'd pick up on art, Thursday health, like that. And then once we get to the bottom, we just start back up at the top. So we have health, Latin, art, health again, geography, health again, music, Latin, and health again. Our health is a pretty extensive curriculum, so I had to have that more than one time. And then we do our memory work, and then we do what we call our reading loop. So same thing, we just do one of these a day, not all of them every day. So we just pick one, and the next time we move down the list. Okay, so now for what's actually in it. For Bible, for every day but Tuesdays, we use, and I think I briefly showed you this at one other time, Who is God and Can I Really Know Him by Apologia. We are loving this so far. Biblical worldview of God and truth. So we're building the house of truth, setting the foundation in Jesus, and then learning. We're only on, I think, lesson 2 or 3. So learning how to build our lives on the Lord and His truth. And my kids really love it. For my second grader, I got the junior notebooking journal to go along with it. So it gives him pages to color, worksheets to do, stuff like that. And then for my pre-K / kindergartner, I got the Who Is God coloring book. So he just has coloring pages he can do along while we are reading and discussing. Then on Tuesdays, we have co-op starting next week. So we try to keep Tuesdays kind of light. So instead of doing the full-on curriculum, we go over our catechism for Bible time. And I'm trying to remember where I got this catechism. It's a catechism for boys and girls revised by Jared Kennedy. So I'm sure if you just Google that, I found it online. So we go through that, and as they memorize them, we date them and then move on to the next question. It's like a big old packet. If you're not familiar with catechism, it's quite a bit, but it's good stuff. And then we also do on Tuesdays, along with that, we use the New England Primer. And we don't do everything in this. We just kind of do one thing at a time. Lately, we've been doing the Who Was section here. Who was the first man? Who was the first woman? Just kind of basic Bible stuff that like you kind of take for granted as an adult, that you're like, oh, I don't know how I learned that. Maybe I should teach my kids that. And then we also do the alphabet of lessons for youth. So A wise son makes a glad father, but a foolish son is the heaviness of his mother. B, better is little with fear of the Lord than great treasure and trouble. We're memorizing these. So that is what we do on Tuesday instead of our Apologia Bible. Then for our learning loop, I'm going to try to speed this up because I got a lot of stuff. When health comes up on our learning loop, I think I've also shown this before, we're doing the Horizons Health Grade 2 because we've also done kindergarten, first grade. We do not have the student workbook this year. We're just kind of using this as a guide to just kind of lead us in discussion of certain topics. So that's mostly just discussion based. It's not very rigorous at all. Then next in our loop is Latin. This year my boys are doing 2 different levels. Song School Latin 1, which I did kind of a closer up review of these in another video. You can search if you want to see that. And Song School Latin Book 2. And they both have DVDs. We just have the streaming available. So we stream the DVDs and play the music and do the worksheet. Let's see. Then when art comes up, we do art appreciation. And right now we are doing, I don't have it all printed out, I just have a few pages of it printed out and put in this folder. We're doing Leonardo da Vinci right now. And I got this from Masterpiece Society. And you can get one artist at a time, or you can get several, but we're just doing one at a time. And it just goes into his life, and you get to print off examples of his work. And it's pretty basic, but my kids love it. And then we use this as a supplement, the Usborne Book of Famous Artists, and it gives just some more information and examples of paintings and stuff like that. So then after art, we get to health again, then we get to geography. This is very, very basic. This is just I don't even know where I got this. It was like in a box of stuff that I bought from someone, I think, or I don't know. I've had this around forever and I just now pulled it out. The World Landmarks, grade 2. So we just do a page of this, and it just talks about either, man-made or natural landmarks. And we read the stuff, and then there's usually like a word scramble or word search or something, or a maze. And then we usually look up, we just kind of Google whatever the landmark is on that page and see what we can find. We also have an Usborne encyclopedia we can look stuff up in. So to just kind of let them explore that however they want to. Then after geography, we go to health again, and then we go to music. And for music, we are doing music appreciation. Peter and the Wolf is what we're doing right now. This is from the Maestro Classics. Couldn't think of what that was called. And it comes with, I think you can buy an actual CD or you can get the download. We just downloaded the music, and it has, the actual Peter and the Wolf soundtrack, and then it has, a track for all the different things. It talks about the composer and all these different things. And there's these sheets you can print off, and there's, like a dot to dot and just little stuff like that. So I just play the CD or the download, and they listen to it. We do the worksheet, and if they have questions, we just sit and Google and encyclopedia and whatever. Just let them lead with how much they're interested in it. I should also add on art days, sometimes, not very often, sometimes I just have this sketch pad here that reminded me of it. We will use, I think it's called Kids Art Hub on YouTube, and it's just this dad and his kid drawing, and he teaches you how to draw stuff, and my kids just draw along with it, and it's just kind of a fun bonus thing to do. They're going to be studying art in co-op this year, so I'm not going to do like an actual art curriculum at home. Then after music, we do Latin again, so we do Latin twice in our loop, and then we do health again. So that makes sure how frequently something is in the loop is determined by how many lessons there are of that I want to get through in a year, if you don't know how loops work. Then we go to memory work. As I've showed you before, this is used, so like I didn't do that writing, but whatever. This is the Claritas Publishing memory work for, I think we're doing cycle 3 this year because it coincides with Story of the World. Sorry. So this just has, history, sentence, hymn, Latin, geography, and then on the other page, there is an English grammar memory sentence. There's math, science, and scripture. And it's really cool because this year it just so happens that our scripture memory is also the same verses that they're using this year for their discipleship program at church. So works out perfectly. And we have a CD that goes with that. Actually, it's like a little flash drive that puts all of that to music. So we just sing it through. Usually Monday and Tuesday, we just kind of sing it through with or get ourselves familiar with it. Wednesday, my kids we call it the funny voice day. They get to tell me what voice they want to say the memory work in. And then Thursday, we usually, like today, we played a game. Like they have to start on one wall, and every time they get I'll start saying the memory work and then I'll pause and they have to tell me the next word. And if they get it right, they get to take a step and try to make their way across the room. And then on Fridays, we quiz them on it, see how much they know. And then the ones that they don't have completely memorized, we'll play some kind of game. An idea I got from Pam Barnhill was we would write it up on the board and then I would erase a word or two. And then we'd say it again. And then I'd erase a couple more words and we'd say it again until, pretty much they have it by themselves. After memory work, we go into our reading loop. We do just our regular read aloud, which currently is Little House on the Prairie. We're almost done. I think we have like 2 or 3 chapters left. That's in the loop 3 times, I think. Then we also have the Children's Book of Virtues. This is a new one for us, and I love it. If you're not familiar with it, you should definitely check it out. It goes through, if you haven't heard of it, it goes through different character traits, different virtues, courage and perseverance, responsibility, work, self-discipline, compassion, faith, and just gives little prayers, poems, stories that show those different virtues. And it's just been an awesome conversation starter for my boys, and we've had so much fun with that. Then, so we do novel, then we do our Book of Virtues, then we do Grimm's Fairy Tales. My son got this for Christmas last year, the year before, I don't remember. And this is the complete set and the full-on creepy, it's not edited for young children. So I kind of try to, skim through and see what I'm reading before I read it, because a lot of these I've never heard of. So I'm there's a couple times I've been I started reading one out loud and I'm maybe we should do a different one. And they're like, why? I want to know what happens. I'm like, well, when you're older. So I'm all about introducing your children to fairy tales. Even as a Christian, I know that's kind of a debatable topic, but I'm all about it because bad guys really do exist and we need to see how heroes fight them off, right? And after the second round of novels, we do Voice of the Martyrs. This, if you're not familiar with it, is a magazine that we subscribe to for free, and it's just serving the persecuted church. So we go through this, and it'll tell you about a different community in different parts of the world and how the gospel is being spread in those communities and how dangerous it is and just kind of what's happening. And it's kind of raw and kind of in your face, but I want my boys to be very much aware of what's going on in the world and the efforts that are being made to take Jesus to the nations. So we read a section or 2 out of that. Sometimes I'll read the whole thing if it's a short one. And then we have a nonfiction day. I don't have anything in here for that, but what usually happens is when we go to the library once every other week, I make each of them choose a nonfiction book of something they want to learn about. So we've done insects, we've done camping, we've done airplanes, we've done the Kansas City Chiefs, just whatever they're interested in. And we will, sometimes they'll bring home these thick books. I'm like, okay, well, we're not going to get that done before we have to return it. But whatever they're most excited about in the book, we'll find that chapter and just read on it. And then if they're still really interested, we'll carry that on into our evening reading too. And then we do our novel again, and then we do biography, which this year, at least this semester, we're working on the Bonhoeffer Student Edition. So it's a little easier to read than the original Bonhoeffer, which I'm sure you know about him. If not, look him up. Amazing, amazing testimony. And I don't know what we'll read second semester, but we're hoping to get through that this semester. And then we do poetry, which this year we are working out of Treasury of Poetry for Children. Last year we did a bunch of Shel Silverstein, still one of my favorites, but we're taking a break from him and reading out of this, and my kids seem to really like this as well. So that is the gist of it. Again, if you are new to this, I realize that is a whole lot of stuff, but like I said, with that loop, any given day, it could just be, 10 minutes of Bible, and then let's say 15 minutes in the learning loop, and then 10 or 15 minutes in the memory work, and then 10 or 15 minutes in the novel or the whatever the read aloud is. And what I usually do, because we could get carried away and just do morning time all day long, what I usually do is I set a timer, and it lasts, morning time usually lasts at least 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, depending. I try not to let us ever go over an hour, because then that starts cutting into our actual school day, which this is just as rich and just as meaningful, if not more so, than a lot of our curriculum. But, you got to learn math, even if you don't want to learn math, and you got to learn how to read, even if you don't want to learn how to read and write and all those things. So, and that just kind of helps us stay on track. And I'm actually going to do another video. I filmed one on our schedules, and I'll probably still post that, but I'm going to film a second part on my alarm system. I set up alarms on my phone for different things. So if you're interested in that, let me know, and I will get that up to you. So if you have any questions about what's in our morning basket or how we go about doing it, just leave a comment below or message me, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks for watching. Bye.